The first thing is, if you're very afraid as a man to pay on a first date because you think a woman is scamming you, you should be vetting the women that you go on dates with.
Yeah, you can
a lot
by
better.
asking them to pay for half the date, right? That seems like a really easy way to vet it.
I think you could vet before the date and probably figure out if they're the type of
Yeah,
woman.
you can by asking them if they're willing to pay for 50% of the date. If they're willing to pay for 50% of the date, then I think that she's probably not going to scam you. But if she's not willing to, I think that your risk, wouldn't you say that your risk drastically as a man goes up of being scammed by a woman for just having a free date by the fact that she demands that you pay for the entirety of the date? And don't you think it decreases drastically if she's willing to pay for 50%?
My second point is...
Hang on, can you answer to my first point?
I am answering. The first thing I said was that if you're so concerned about a woman scamming you, you should be vetting them before you get on the first date with them.
Yeah, but wouldn't an easy way to do that be to just ask them to pay for 50% of the date?
That's after you guys have already been on the date, though.
Why do you need to go on a date in order to ask them if they'll pay for 50% of the date up front?
It just doesn't happen usually. But my second point here...
Yeah, but that doesn't answer to the question. The question is, wouldn't a great way to mitigate getting scammed by women who just want free dates and free shit from you be to just ask them to pay 50%? Wouldn't that greatly mitigate this risk for men?
If you are so concerned about the 50% that you're going to have to pay to have a woman out on a date, perhaps you can't afford to have a woman.
Maybe, well, wait, that doesn't even follow. You could have $1 million in the bank and still ask a woman to pay for 50% of the first date.
But you wouldn't need to because you have
Yeah,
the
you
funds.
don't need to, but that's not the point. So I'm going to ask the question again. This is the fourth time you've avoided it, so I'm going to ask one more time.
Okay.
Isn't it true that a great way to mitigate getting scammed on a date as a man would be to ask a woman to pay for 50% of the date? Wouldn't that be a great way to mitigate getting scammed by women?
Sure, you can definitely ask, but I don't think that a woman who doesn't want to go 50%
I didn't ask if you could ask.
is a
I didn't
scammer.
ask if you could ask. Wait, I didn't ask if you could ask that. I know they can ask that. I asked if it would be true that if a woman would be willing to pay for 50% of the date, the chances she's just scamming him to go on a free date would be drastically lower because, after all, why would she pay for 50% of the date if she just wanted the free date, right?
But
Doesn't that follow? I need. Well, wait. Without
think you've
saying
dated
anything
much.
else that's tangential to this, I want you to say yes or no that would mitigate scamming of women trying to get free dates. Yes or no? Would that mitigate it or not mitigate it?
I don't think
Need you
that
to
women
answer
are going
yes
to
or
be scamming.
no. Would that mitigate it or not mitigate it?
Women aren't scamming,
We're gonna
though.
need that yes or no from you. Gonna need yes, gonna need no.
Just
Would
say
it
yes or
mitigate
no.
it or
Yes.
not mitigate it?
Yeah, you should definitely ask a woman to pay 50% before even meeting her to go on a first date.
So again, I'm going to ask this one more time. Can you just answer yes or no?
I
when
said yes,
actually
it
assists-
would. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
But I don't think the woman's a scammer because she doesn't want to go out with a guy who wants her to pay 50% of the date.
Yeah, I'm not. But nobody said that a woman is a scammer.
But you're saying, would it reduce
No.
scamming?
Stop. I didn't say that. Does not mean any women are scamming because they're asking a man to pay for 50% of the date. What it does mean, though, is that men get scammed for free dates all the time, and it would be a great way to mitigate that. That doesn't mean that
I don't
a woman
think that's a
asking,
good
hang
way.
on,
I don't
doesn't
think
mean
it's
a
a good
woman
way.
asking for that is scamming them. Now, I never said that. I just said a great way to mitigate getting scammed would be to ask for 50%, right?
I don't think it's a good way.
Oh, okay. Well, then, can you explain to me how your risk of getting scammed on a date would go up if the woman pays for 50% of it?
If the woman's paying for 50% of the date, you are not
you
likely...
don't need to repeat my question back to me. You just answer the question.
You're not likely to get a
Can you explain to me
second.
how your chances would go up of getting scammed for a free date if a woman pays for 50% of the date? Can
Are
you
you
explain
more
that to me?
concerned about getting scammed by a woman or finding
You're
your
not
future
answering
wife?
the question. Why do you avoid questions like the plague? Just answer the question. You don't have to ask me a question, just answer the question. Can you explain to me how your chances of getting scammed would increase on a first date if a woman paid for 50% of the date. Can you explain how your chances
Hail
would
and
go
well
up?
met. Lol Paladins donated $200.02. I have dated a lot, more than Andrew, and I'm a multi-millionaire. A good way of weeding out chicks like this scammer is to take them out to KFC or Twisted Teas in the park.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't even disagree with that. But
Thank you,
hang
Lil
on, don't answer to that. Don't answer to that. Answer to my question, please. Can you explain to me how your chances of getting scammed would increase if a woman paid for 50% of the first date?
You won't be getting a second date for the most part.
No, but prior to the date, she already agreed to paying the 50%.
If she already agreed to
after the
pay, then
date-
she doesn't care. Then she's really curious about going out with learning more about you, I guess.
And wouldn't that decrease your chance of getting scammed on that date for a free date?
Sure, but I think women
Yes.
who have high self-esteem, for the most part, want to go out with a guy who's showing them that they are willing to invest in the relationship.
I have a couple things here on that. You used to do sex work, right?
OF,
So sex work.
essentially.
Okay. Do you think men with high self-esteem would refuse to go on a date with a sex worker, even
Yeah.
a past worker?
I think so. I think it depends
Oh,
on the type of
okay.
guy and their values. Some men are fine with it, others aren't. Just depends on their values.
Danny M., I'm in my soft guy era. I want to be wined and dined on a date. Why should I have to pay for the date? Aren't men and women equal now? Quick
He
answer.
admitted he's in his soft guy era, and it's giving that.
Yeah, but so like, why should he have to pay for the date?
If he's a soft guy and he's looking for a woman to pay on the date, that's his right.
But what? But you're saying, okay, let's say your position is you think, well, men should pay, women should not tolerate men wanting to split. So why, yes, we get that men can want it, but why should men pay?
Because I think men understand that women are looking more for a provider type, and it kind of shows off the bat that they're willing to provide at least a little bit of their expendable income on
Yes,
them.
so we get that women want men to pay. Why should men pay?
Because don't men want women?
But yeah, sure. But what is the argument from women as to why men should do it? Like, what's the actual argument?
She's kind of consistent on this point, right? So the consistency on this point is just to say she believes from her paradigm that women are a prize, and that if you want the prize, you got to pay for the prize. Mm-hmm. Right? Isn't that basically what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think women who have high enough self-esteem to see themselves as a prize would conduct themselves accordingly.
Yeah, that's consistent, but I just want to ask you this, since it is consistent. Do you think that a man with high self-esteem should see the woman as the prize, or should he see himself as the prize?
They should both want to be king and queen of the castle. They should both.
Do kings, wait, I'm sorry. If kings pay for the queen, isn't the queen supposed to serve the king?
To a certain extent, yeah.
Well, I'm not so sure that you know what kings and queens do.
Well, he pays. That's all that matters.
Okay, we have.
That's not all
I
that
think you got to
matters.
be consistent here, too. I think it's consistent to say that you think women are the prize. I think that that's consistent to say that men should pay because you think that women are the prize. That's totally consistent. I can at least understand where your thought process comes from there. That makes sense to me. But what man who considers himself to be high value or to have high value or to have high self-esteem would ever accept in a million years he's not the prize? Isn't that what makes him the guy who's high value and high status? I'm the prize, not you.
I think that that's kind of devaluing the woman. If a guy has
That's
high,
right.
if
The same way you're devaluing him.
no, I don't think so. Because a guy who has high self-esteem would want a woman by his side who he can, show off that he
Paid for?
has got. Yeah, I mean, who has?
Oh, that sounds like a
he's gotten
sucker,
woman.
not a guy who has high self-esteem. Why would a high self-esteem guy who thought a lot of himself and was highly confident go, oh, you know what? I'll just go pay for all your fucking shit. You have to do anything. I just want to flex. I just want to show you how great I am. Wouldn't that be the opposite of high self-esteem to do that? To have to impress you? Wouldn't that be low self-esteem?
No, I think a lot of men gain value in monetary things because they want to be able to have a high status woman. I think that's a lot of the.
Wait. A high status woman. That's really
guess.
weird. Wait a second. If you think you're going to get a high status woman, you're a high status man, right? You think that the only way to do that is to give her your money.
It's not just about the money, it's showing that you're willing to invest in the relationship. So not only money, but time and effort. And it takes effort to make money.
What's her investment back in the relationship to a guy who considers himself high status? In other words, if I was a multi-millionaire and 10 times more handsome than I am, and I wanted some
Young
chick,
Andrew.
right? I desired her, and I said, okay, let's go out and let's have a date, and she just saw me as a wallet. Why would I ever humor that? Wouldn't I just go right to the next chick?
You don't get it. It's not about seeing someone as a wallet. It's about showing that as a guy, you are putting in not only your time, but your money and your effort towards getting to know the woman.
Yeah, but usually you get something for that.
Yeah, you get. Do you not value your relationships with women?
What you're still doing is considering the woman the prize. I don't believe that a high status
Killer
man
of
considers
Cereal
women to be
donated
prizes.
$100. Men need to know that if a woman refuses to pay half, she may refuse to do other things that matter in future when it comes to milestone changes in life together. An ethical/supportive type pays half.
Yo, Kill of Cereal, thank you for the TTS, man. By the way, TTS has been lowered to 100. If you guys want to get your
But I mean, you're
TTSs.
right. I don't get it because I would not ever think that a very high status man who was very good looking, who had high self confidence, would ever see a woman as a prize. Why would he?
So do you not value your relationships with women?
Oh, I'm happily married.
And you didn't pay for the first date with your wife?
We didn't have a date on our first date where either of us had to pay. We had a picnic.
Okay, who brought the
She
picnic
paid.
stuff?
I guess she paid then because she made the food.
Okay, good for her if that's what she
Yeah.
wants to do. I'm glad that that's
Yeah.
legal.
What?
What is the
Yeah, I know,
part
but nobody
you're
was
referring
disputing the
Yeah, I
legality
mean,
of this thing.
I don't get
I'm
the
just,
legal
I'm just
thing.
saying.
It's
I'm
like
just saying,
everyone
It's
just has
just
a
like
right.
allowed.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
like-
allowed.
I'm just
in our
saying
society,
to you, but
women can pay for
even
a
if I
date.
had taken her out and I had gone on a date with her and I had paid for the date, each individual situation would be different, and I would still consider myself to be the prize inside of that paradigm. So if I had said to her, look, I want you to pay for half, I don't even think she would have to. Maybe just the willingness to might be enough. Maybe you'd still be like, I'm still going to pay. But just knowing that they would, right?
Yeah.
Dragon Slayer 34 donated $100. Red shirt is prettiest. Let her talk more. Star gives she let us tap energy. True religion handkerchief shirt, sex on first date is ick. Plus size model could more attractive if she loses weight.
Thank you, Dragon Slayer 34. Do you
He's
want to
just
say anything to
recapping.
Dragon Slayer 34?
Thank you, Dragon Slayer 34.
Okay. Thank you.